Good morning, everyone. It's 9:30, so I'll go ahead and get started. My name is Austin Talbot, and I'm a cyber analyst with Red Sky Alliance. Today's threat brief contains information gathered from open source and WAPAC Labs collections over the last week. For the agenda today, we're going to briefly discuss recent reporting, including the DoppelPaymer Ransomware. For open source and social media, we will cover recent cyber attacks, breaches, and vulnerabilities. And then we'll go over 7 days of trending, including the latest APT activities, botnet activity, cloud security, blacklists, and keylogger activity. First up is recent reporting, including the DoppelPaymer Ransomware. In last week's Red Sky Alliance oil and gas brief, it was discussed that the Mexican Petroleum company Pemex has recently fallen victim to a ransomware attack. Initial reports stated that Pemex was affected by the Ryuk Ransomware, but later findings confirmed that a DoppelPaymer ransomware infection had taken place. DoppelPaymer is an offshoot of the BitPaymer Ransomware, which has previously been employed by the cybercriminal group Indrik Spider to target networks operated by the city of Edcouch, Texas, and the Chilean Ministry of Agriculture. DoppelPaymer and BitPaymer Ransomware have a number of differences, which could indicate that one or more members have split from the Indrik Spider group and are using the source code of both the Dridex malware and BitPaymer in further ransomware campaigns. The earliest builds of the DoppelPaymer ransomware appear to have been circulating since April 2019, and DoppelPaymer encrypts files using 256-bit AES encryption and renames the files with a .locked extension. The ransomware also uses the Tor browser for the ransom payment, and recent updates to the DoppelPaymer ransomware allow the software to terminate processes and services that may interfere with the file encryption. DoppelPaymer also has similarities with the Dridex malware, which Red Sky Alliance has previously reported on. Dridex 2.0 uses code to decrypt either a 32-bit or a 64-bit core bot module from its SData section, using the exact same encryption, compression, and data format that DoppelPaymer uses. DoppelPaymer infections have affected multiple companies and organizations in the southern US and South America. Taking a look at the top 5 botnets in our collections this week, we have similar data to last week, with a server sinkhole by Anubis Networks in the top spot. Conficker has moved down to the 3rd spot, with Ramnet in the 2nd spot. ISR Stealer and LokiBot round out the list in the bottom 2 spots. And all botnets this week geolocate to China except LokiBot, which traces back to Vietnam. Top stories in open source and social media this week include the UK Labour Party being hit by a distributed denial of service attack, which the party states has successfully been thwarted. This is the 2nd cyber attack in recent times against the Labour Party. Early findings showed that this attack appeared to have originated from computers in Russia and Brazil, but recently UK reporters have been told that the attacks were not linked to any particular state. Also trending this week is a story discussing how a newly found bug in the Android operating system's camera app can allow other apps to record video, take pictures, and extract GPS data from media without having the permissions usually required for such tasks. This vulnerability, which is known as CVE 2019-2234, affects Google Camera and Samsung Camera apps if they have not been updated since before July of 2019. Researchers from Checkmarks found that apps that have the storage permission, which gives the app access to the device's SD card and all media stored on it, also gives that app the ability to access the camera app's exposed intents without the permissions usually necessary, including android.permission.camera and android.permission.record audio. In other news this week, the popular new streaming service Disney Plus has already had some of its users' credentials appear on dark websites just hours after its release last week. Some accounts were seen for sale in the underground for prices ranging from $3 to $11. No single mechanism for the credential theft has been identified, but it seems that some victims reused credentials from other sites, and these credentials may have previously been involved in other data breaches. The new streaming service does not support a multi-factor authentication solution, and some users likely opted for short or weak passwords. Red Sky Alliance always recommends implementing strong passwords and multi-factor authentication where possible. Last week, we recorded approximately 1.8 million indicators. These collections included our threat recon, keylogger, malicious emails, and our sinkhole traffic. The numbers on this slide show the indicators in the respective collections. These indicators are available to paid Red Sky Alliance members weekly, as well as our blacklist, which come in CSV, Fortisim, and Proofpoint formats. These are APT and botnet indicators collected last week. We had 441 unique APT indicators in the past 7 days, and this amount is up 263 indicators from last week. You can use your two-factor authentication to log into CTAC and download the latest APT indicators discussed today. Please contact us on Slack or via email for any assistance. On the right, you can see our top sinkhole statistics sorted by malware. Topping the list again this week is Sickipot, and Maudi is in the second spot. Also in the top 5 APTs this week are Wekby and Carbonac. Botnet activity over the last 7 days remains fairly consistent with prior trending. These autonomous systems show the highest numbers of detected bots. In open source, 31 Jinrong Street is still the strong leader, followed by Bharti Airtel. The open source data regarding the top spot does not correlate with the data observed in our collections this week. In our collections, we have China Unicom in the first spot and 31 Jinrong Street in the second spot. On the cloud security front, we are seeing botnet activities targeting the same cloud providers as usual. Peak 10 is currently the highest risk in cloud environment this week, followed by Microsoft and Amazon. High risk environments also include Alibaba, Shark Tank, and Hurricane Electric. Rackspace and Tierpoint are caution risk environments this week, and ONR is a lower risk environment. In Red Sky Alliance's malicious email collections this week, we can see Trojans targeting multiple German domains. Similar malware is being sent to multiple domains owned by Spanish medical companies this week. And we continue to see subject lines indicating invoices, quotes, and proposals to entice users to open them. Another common tactic we've been seeing used in these malicious emails is using the letters RE followed by a colon in the subject line to imply that the two parties have discussed the subject previously. Our blacklists are published weekly. On the right-hand side, you can see some of our keylogger stats. Last week, we observed 685,765 new IP addresses participating in various botnets, 72,009 sinkhole collections from new IP addresses, and 34 unique email accounts compromised with keyloggers. Please go to redskylines.org to inquire for additional support, complete blacklists, Red X-ray, and API access. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Please visit our Red Sky Alliance portal at redskylines.org for additional cyber intelligence reporting. If you have any questions regarding topics briefed today, please get in touch with Jay McKee at wapaclabs.com. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.